Howdy, folks. Welcome back. It's April 18th, 2021, here in Washington State. It's another beautiful, beautiful day here in the western side of Washington State. We're going to be looking at a bunch of pictures from space, satellite pictures, and we're concentrating on dunes. And this picture right here is from a video that I did a couple years ago in the beginning days. And when I saw these dunes, even back then, I thought, man, those look like buildings on those dunes. It looks like a construction. I even then and now I think there's just no way that this is like a digital thing or some sort of mirage. I don't know what it could be other than what it looks like, and that's what I concluded, was that to me it looks like buildings. So for one of the first times, I decided to finally go with what my eyes were telling me. And fortunately, there was this picture, this satellite picture that Joseph Skipper brought forward that helped make it clear to me that this is exactly what we're looking at here, but this is just a flat surface area and not built up to look like a dune. But what you have here are thousands upon thousands of buildings. They're all exactly the same, or at least 99% of them are, and they all fit in nice and neat in these thousands upon thousands of rows. There are lots of dunes on Mars, just like they tell us, right? I mean, it is a dry planet, and there's no water, and it's windy and sandy, and therefore we get a lot of these dunes. It's a narrative that NASA had to come up with, and they had to confront it right in the beginning, because that's what we have is a planet that is completely covered with dunes of all different kinds, different shapes. They have so many different shapes, and they're everywhere. And so they had to talk about it. They couldn't just pretend that they weren't there. There's too many of them. And in fact, in the hundreds and hundreds of satellite pictures that I looked at, they're literally in every picture to a degree. Not always these big elaborate dunes like this ones, but sometimes you just see a smattering of individual long dunes like the ones we looked at in a video before last. Now look at this stripe here. So you have three colors of buildings. You have light and medium and dark. Light is for the light colored, where the sun is supposed to be shining. Gray is the transition point, and then dark is where it's supposed to be, the shadier area. They go through a tremendous amount of effort to shade and colorize these things. I don't know if it's to camouflage them, or if it's just what they do. I know that sounds ridiculous. This is just something that they do. But so much of what they've done is meant to be seen from space or from high altitude. And, I don't know. Who knows? I mean, we really just don't know. But I can say that there are bazillions of buildings here, one after another, row after row. And they even have different names for all of these types of dunes. And I feel kind of bad because I didn't gather all the names up so I could tell you what kind of dunes they are. But they had names for all of these dunes. And I think it's really funny how over and over, most frequently, you'll find these black dunes right in the middle of an area that's white in color. I think that's just so strange. If they're going to camouflage these things and make them look real, then why would they put black dunes in the middle of a white area? Now you see this area here where these dunes are there's a narrow gap, Okay, we're going to zoom in on that gap there. And I want you to just relax your eyes. Look in the middle of this picture here and just relax your eyes. Just stare at it. And do you see a city layout there? I do. I know the picture's bad. It's pretty blurry, but there are individual buildings there, different shaped buildings. Unlike the buildings in the dunes were all the same, these buildings are much more like what we would have. And the effort that they've gone through for the coloration is just amazing to me. And the other thing that's amazing to me is if you have these massive constructions in these areas, these massive black dunes, we're still calling them dunes, in areas that are white, where do they get the construction material? I mean, really? Now here's another kind of dune. I guess I should have got the name on this because this is very notable, very, very strange looking here. Now this is one of those times when you have white dunes on a white surface, so you know that's you know good to know that they can do that. they don't always go for the opposite color. And then I don't know what these black things are all over it here. I tried doing this in the negative. I thought, well, maybe these are really, the black spots are really lights, you know, if you do turn it around, but it doesn't work. It's they're not lights. It's not in the negative. I don't get it. Now here's another kind of dune, and these look like ribbons, big long ribbons. There again, black ribbons in the middle of whiteness. Can you imagine the planning and the effort and the time it takes to build something like this? Are you kidding me? This is why I say they have been around for so very, very long. You know, if aliens have been on Earth for 270 million years, then aliens have been up here for very nearly the same amount of time. Because if you look at the amount of construction all over this planet, of all of these dunes that are literally everywhere in every picture, they have to have been here for hundreds of millions of years. Hundreds of millions of years. So think about that. What do you think they know compared to what we know? You know, we've been around, you know, intelligently for, you know, 5,000 or 6,000 years, maybe 10,000 years. But that's nothing compared to 200 million years. You think they have any knowledge that we don't? So, again, people always ask me about infrastructure. And I, of course, don't have an answer for that other than to say that after 200 million years, they've probably got the whole infrastructure thing, you know, figured out pretty well. Look at that incredible coloration, and the design is unbelievable. I wish these satellite pictures could get close to see, well, I just wish they could get closer, you know, the things that we could see. And even if they tried to make these camouflaged, I mean, this kind of sticks out, don't you think? I mean, yeah, it looks like the sun is hitting one side and it's dark on the other and all that, but these things stick out like a sore thumb. I mean, if I was flying over trying to find something and looked down and saw this, I'd be landing right down here. Obvious, very, very obvious. Just an incredible design. And the incredible designs, they never end. Look at the row of the larger dots here. They're all exactly the same shape. Very strange pictures. And this picture here to me looks like dunes under construction. They have to have something underneath the buildings, right? We see the buildings on top, but what's under? What are they sitting on? I think this is an example right here of dunes in construction. And then, of course, being Mars, we have to have the weird pictures. There's plenty of weirdness up there. And if you've been following anything about Mars, you may have seen pictures of dust devils. They even have some videos of dust devils going across the floor of the planet. And frequently these dust devils, I guess, leave these lines behind. But if these dunes are construction and dust devils are going over the top, then why are they leaving lines? Okay. There's no, these dunes are not dust, so the dust devils, why would they leave lines? And most of the time it seems like the lines end, not always, but end at the edge of the dune. And even these black dunes here, or constructions, or whatever you want to call them, even these have the black lines going across, but then you don't see them on the white surface, only in the dark area. So are these made to look like dust devils, and yet it's only in the dark area? Why would they do that? And furthermore, again, the planning, the coloration, everything that they've done, I don't know. And then there's pictures that you just can't really figure out what they are. I mean, we know they're constructions. This thing looks like a cow stomach or something. Are these black dunes mixed in? Look at all these lines. Presumably, there was no explanation that these are dust devil lines, and I've seen other pictures where they say that. Now here are more, but these lines are all straight. Does that mean the dust devils only go one direction? I mean, go straight? Yeah, it doesn't make sense to me. Doesn't make sense. I don't know what that is. And here in a crater we have another construction, and it doesn't really look like a dune. It's dune-ish. And again with the coloration where the light is, the bright spots, the tops where the sun is supposed to be hitting. Incredible construction. And look at the black markings in there. This is something different. It's beautiful. It's stunningly beautiful, and it's so alien. It's so alien. It kind of makes me speechless. Now here's an area that looks like dunes, but these dunes kind of look like they're under attack. I mean, it's sort of like a fungus that's growing up around there, and the dunes kind of look, they don't look as good as the other dunes. Maybe they're abandoned or something. Maybe this is some sort of a, who knows, something attacking these dunes. But they definitely look, they don't look like the other dunes. They look sort of abandoned. And, there are those kinds of dunes, and then there's all the rest of the stuff. And it seems like there's maybe 5 or 6 different ways that people live on Mars. The big dunes like the ones we were looking at, and this kind of stuff here that just sprawls out. I mean, this is serious terraforming here, okay? They've got the ground covered here. And I wonder what it would be like to travel even 50 miles through here. And all these dark areas in between here, that's all covered with those rows of buildings. And the circular areas, you can see the long type of dunes, the very long ones that we've seen in the past. Thousands of them. Literally, well, millions of them, really. They're everywhere. Is that not incredible? Is that not alien? I mean, folks, Mars is definitely an alien planet. We've seen people, pictures of people on my channel on Mars, but it's hard to imagine regular people living in places like this. And so they do use different colors. This is unusual here. This is all black. I ran across this picture, and it's not overly interesting, but this blackness I thought was, worth noting, worth bringing that forward. Thousands upon thousands of these very long dunes that are all shaped like slugs or worms or something. Leeches. There are millions of them. Now this picture here looks pretty blank, and of course once you start getting closer, and it's a picture of a very large area, and it is also covered from top to bottom, left to right, with these long worm-like dunes. In this picture alone, there must be hundreds of thousands of them, at least. Look at all of those. That's all constructed. How long did it take to do this? These guys have been around for a long, long time. I'm sure planet Earth has been like watching TV for them. They're National Geographic on the monkeys on Earth. They have to be so far advanced from where we are right now. Because I got to tell you right now, I don't feel like we're very advanced at all. But that's another story. And in between these long dunes, it's a little different than what we've seen, but it's similar. Look at that. People live in these things. And it doesn't seem like a very efficient way to construct either. You'd think everything would be in long, straight lines. And there's just no way it's all about camouflage. There's too many of them. You can't hide this. I think Martians are very artistic, actually. That's for another video. Look at all of those. Thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of them. Just in these pictures. What about all the rest of the planet? There are so many people living there. I mean, trillions and trillions of them. There's no way that this is natural. There's just no way. I mean, there's just no way. So I guess if this is what we have to look forward to here on Earth, I don't think it's a bad thing. It's just going to be a different thing. We'll see what happens. Thanks for watching, everyone. See you next time.